Hey everybody, I'm Zach.
And I'm Jesse.
You're watching Disruptive Investing, and this week it's XAI's new LLM, Grok.
Welcome to the future. Oh, do you want to know about the future? Because we're here, baby. We got Grok, we got LLMs, and holy crap, does none of this make any sense? But we're going to break it down for you. Do not worry. But before we get into today's episode, just a quick disclaimer.
Yeah, we are not financial advisors. Do not take our advice as financial advice. Don't just go blindly investing in stocks because you think we said something about them. Do your own research. Investing involves risk.
So on this week's Tesla Time News, we reported on Elon Musk's new AI company, XAI, and their new chatbot called Grok. We talked about where the name Grok comes from. Grok was first used in one of Elon's favorite books in the 1961 Robert A. Heinlein science fiction novel, Stranger in a Strange Land. And it became popular in computer science circles to mean when you understand something so thoroughly that you merge with it and it merges with you.
And we talked about how Grok looks like it's going to have a sense of humor. Elon said XAI's Grok system is designed to have little humor in its responses, and that it may give more complete answers than the other chatbots out there.
Yeah, we showed the tell me how to make cocaine step by step. Of course, first of all, it gives you a joke answer. If pressed, it will give a more complete answer, which we're going to blur out, I guess. Don't do drugs, kids.
And as Asuna Guilfoyle posted, it appears that XAI has filed for several trademarks, which appear to be products, Grok and Prompt IDE. Grok appears to be information retrieval, and Prompt IDE for development based on classes. And Elon posted little looky eyes because that's important. So I think this is one of those stories that's going to turn into a huge deal, but that very few people understand right now. And I wanted you guys, as disruptive investors, to first of all focus your attention on it and understand why this will affect many of your investing decisions to come.
Okay, so why is it a big deal? I mean, there are a lot of AI chatbots out there, and some of them will do, they'll help you with your Excel spreadsheets. How do I label cells if I do this or that? And they'll tell, here's the code, or the code websites for you. They'll tell you how to cook, or they'll tell you how to study about something. They'll do all sorts of fun stuff. What is going to make Grok different?
Well, it doesn't take much to make a chatbot anymore, right? I mean, there's a lot of open source code out there on making LLMs. So pretty much anyone in their garage can add an LLM to their product or service. And we see companies doing that right now, right? Like car companies that add a chatbot to the car. So you can hop in the car and say something like, I want to go to an ice cream store that's open till 9 p.m. Up until now, a request like that was hard for a computer software to parse, right? You could type in the name of an ice cream store, or you could also type in ice cream. But if you wanted to add things to that, like I just said, like stores that are open till 9 p.m. or stores that sell ice cream sundaes, it was hard to get back an answer that you really wanted. But the second really big piece to an LLM is the database that it derives its answers from. So if I coded up a really cool LLM, but I only gave it a dictionary as its database, then there's no way it would be able to answer my question about an ice cream shop open till 9 p.m., right? And to go one step further, if I did give it a pretty good database, but that database was a bit outdated, let's say it was information from like a year ago, then it may not tell me correctly if the ice cream store that it's directing me to is A, still in business, and B, does it still stay open till 9 p.m. now that it's November?
Right, because what you want is an up-to-date, really big database.
Exactly. And that's why there's only going to be a few good LLMs, I believe. You're going to have to be a pretty big company with deep pockets and resources to get quality databases. Otherwise, your LLM's answers are going to be kind of weak. Elon has a huge advantage here with Grok. Not only is he attracting the top AI talent, but he's got his own database, X.
Okay, but X is a social media app. I mean, why are you calling it a database?
We may not think of X as a database. In fact, it's easy to look at it as just a jumbled mess of stupid posts, right? But actually, it's super valuable.
How so?
If you can write software, AI software, that can weigh different posts and search through those posts, then you have a continually updated repository for news and information from around the world. Not only do you have posts from trusted news organizations, and I use the word trusted here lightly, posts from institutions like Wall Street Journal, New York Times, Reuters, governments, etc. But with X, you also have posts from people who are leaders of their industries, CEOs, writers, researchers, doctors, mathematicians, scientists, astronomers, podcasters, influencers, food bloggers, etc. Put all that together in one place, and you actually have an amazing database. So to go back to my query of find me an ice cream shop that's open till 9 p.m., where would you go now? Well, you can go to Yelp, but again, that data is old. I mean, a lot of those Yelp posts are from months ago. Google, okay, maybe. X, though, I would think would be one of the best places to go for that info.
But I mean, most of us do not have the time when we're like, is it open till 9 o'clock? It's probably 8 o'clock, right? You don't have the time to kind of sit on X for 6 hours looking through posts and looking through this and looking through that and sorting through it. And, I'm going to click.
No, well, actually, there's some new features on X I don't think hardly anyone knows about. Elon just posted on this week where there are some search parameters you can give it. You can say things like search for ice cream, you search for this, search for that. Really good search algorithms, which I think they had to come up with so that they could make X AI work.
I see. But I mean, still, you wouldn't want to have
work, right?
You wouldn't have to go, dragging yourself through
Right.
X to find these answers. You would rather have a robot assistant, which for it doesn't have to move its mouse around and click and read and comprehend. It could just be like, and give you an answer.
Right. And the part we may not be understanding here, because we all just search the internet all the time and we don't really think about where the answers have come from, is that these chatbots can't legally scrape data from any database they choose. They either have to make sure that the database is either, one, in the public domain, so on some website like a government website or someplace that anyone can use, or they have to already own that data, like Elon does with X, or they have to license it. And again, this is why a small company, like if you and I wanted to start up, we would have to go to X or some other company and say, can we license your data? And they might charge us a lot of money.
Or they might say, no.
No, exactly. So data is going to become even more valuable than it already is today. I think a lot of people think of data on the internet being valuable. That's like, what is your shopping history, right? That's fine. But I think data that we never really thought of as that valuable before, like, when was the War of 1812 fought, is going to become valuable because that's going to become what all these LLMs are looking for. Not just, most people aren't going to look up, like, what did Jesse buy yesterday? They're going to look up, tell me about the War of 1812.
But also my opinions on something that I may have bought.
Exactly.
So I could be like, oh, this shaver is really great. I really like it. And then it could be like, yes, lots of people recommend that. Right. As opposed to, when you normally go on the internet, you'd have to read through some review page. You don't know if that is accurate or true, or if those reviews are made up. Whereas if I posted it on X and I'm a verified user, there's a good chance that I'm a real person making a real statement.
It's kind of like the orders of magnitude that Elon's talked about before. When I was a kid, information came from a library. And to get that information, a lot of times I would sit there either reading encyclopedias or looking at microfiche and just think about that for a second. It's a painstaking process. It would take all day to find out a basic fact. And you'd have notebooks open and you'd be scrolling. Where did I see that? Oh man, where was that microfiche on that thing I need? Okay, order of magnitude later, we go to the internet where it's like, oh my God, I just type into a 1990s computer and I can look things up. Order of magnitude later, on your phone and on a train, you can look things up. Order of magnitude later now with chatbots, you can look up, like you said, instead of having to take maybe 30 minutes to find information, you can find it in 30 seconds. And for all those people who thought that Elon was crazy to buy Twitter for $44 billion, what he also got in that purchase was not just a free speech platform, as he likes to call it, but also a gigantic growing database on which to train Grok.
But we can't invest in X or XAI. Those are privately held companies, privately held by Elon Musk.
True. But they are disruptive, immensely disruptive. And as investors, it's not just about getting fed stock ticker symbols all the time.
And buy the dip!
It's about learning to spot innovation and the companies that are innovating the fastest. To that point, take a look at this tweet from Chuck Cook. Chuck says, Elon, just like this post below with the highlighted section that caught my eye, Grok running native on Tesla with local compute. Yes. And Chuck is referring to this tweet where Grok will run native in Tesla using local compute power. I predict Grok will be one of the most popular multimodal AI platforms. And Elon responded, provided our vehicle AI computer is able to run the model, Tesla will probably have the most amount of true usable inference compute on Earth. Even in a robotaxi future, the cars will only be used for 1/3 of the hours per week, leaving 2/3 for distributed inference like SETI.
Wait, so Elon is going to turn his fleet of Teslas into mobile inference computers?
Yep. Making XAI, which I'm sure will pay Tesla for this compute power, even more powerful and provide another revenue stream for Tesla. Now, I've barely had a chance to wrap my head around this one. By the way, SETI is the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. And you remember that like back in the early 2000s, you could help with the compute that was coming in from all of the data of those antennas that were looking at space. And so, you could basically make a big giant computer. Benjamin Crandall says, I don't think that's what Elon meant. And he's talking about a previous tweet. He said, I think he specifically meant the robotaxi fleet could be used to run inference for Grok queries while not in use driving people. This is similar to how personal computers can be used in distributed fashion to contribute to SETI. And Elon said, correct. So basically, your car happens to be sitting in the driveway for a while. Unusual, right? For a robotaxi. The computer's not doing anything. Tesla goes, click, turns it on, uses it to as one of those computes. We learned this week, and we talked about on Tesla Time News, when you ask X something, it's not just one CPU doing the work on that. It needs to distribute it over 12 million plus CPUs.
Because otherwise, if you had one computer that had to do it, as Lex had pointed out, it would take 220 seconds. Right. So you'd be there for
4 minutes.
4 minutes. You'd say like, I want to find tweets that Elon said, and then you'd sit there and you'd wait.
Right.
And you'd wait. And you'd wait. And you wouldn't get any results back for 4 minutes. And that is not conducive to the kind of thing that they want to do. So what do? They have a huge server farm with hundreds of or millions of computers that are all ready to accept your response and take that 220 seconds of CPU time and divide it up so that way you can see it in about 2 seconds.
Do you see why we put a disclaimer at the front of this video? Tesla is going to be bigger than any auto analyst could even dream of. And as you can see, as investors, we have to be up on what's going on with technology, and things are happening faster and faster.
Right. There's even new vocabulary to learn. Like I just got used to saying ChatGPT. Now there's Grok.
My advice, get your hands on Grok as soon as you're able. So basically, Elon has said that it is now available to Premium Plus users on X. I am so dumb that I still can't figure out how to switch my Premium account to a Premium Plus account. It's $16 a month. We're now paying $8 a month. I don't know. I was on there for 15 minutes. I really couldn't figure it out. It kept leading me to the same thing, like cancel your plan or don't. So if you know how to do it, I'd love it if you commented down below. I think that basically it almost crashed their site. So many people were signing up all at the same time. But look, this is just another reason why smart investors like Ron Barron here are saying that Tesla could be worth $4 trillion. That's trillion with a T in 5 years' time. Tesla's innovating so fast that it just makes their competitors look like jokes.
Right. Ford just bought a small startup called AMP to help them figure out battery management software and hardware.
Meanwhile, Tesla could be running the most advanced AI LLMs on its fleet of cars.
Ford can't even get me good navigation.
And that's kind of the point. While all these other car companies are still just trying to catch up on the car side of things, Elon's found ways to integrate what is arguably going to become one of the biggest things out there. And if you're saying, Grok, like, what are you talking about, Zach? I just want you to go back a few years. I remember having the same experience with the word Google. Google went public. And I did not buy stock in it because I was like, what is it? They make their money from advertising and search? What? Who cares? Stupid me. Didn't get it. Grok is going to become, I think, if it's successful as an AI, one of the biggest things on the planet. And if you look at the total addressable market, well, that's the entire planet. The entire planet is going to want to use it. And it's going to be controlled by who? Elon Musk. Now, you might say, well, that's not Tesla. So why I can't invest in it? Well, like we said, if they're using Tesla cars as part of their compute power, then they're going to have to pay a licensing fee. It's not legal for Elon to say like, well, it's my company, so I'm not going to pay anything, because Tesla's not his company. It's a publicly traded company. So he's going to have to pay Tesla to use the computers. So that's a new revenue stream right there. Not to mention the fact that what kind of car do you want to hop in? A car that you go like, hey, Ford, can you please give me crappy navigation? Or a Tesla where you hop in and you say like, while you're driving me to work, can you also do my taxes?
I think that we've seen little glimpses into what this sort of AI future is going to look like. I think that ChatGPT was like an excellent little foray into it.
Well, let me give you an example. Elon tweeted out some this week. Some of the new users have been able to do things like ask it, tell me about the recent podcast that Elon was on with Joe Rogan. And when you do that with, say, ChatGPT or with Bard, you get like, Joe Rogan is an American comedian. Something that's like, whatever.
Pulled straight from Wikipedia, practically.
Exactly. You ask that same question to Grok, and it tells you what Joe Rogan was wearing, why he was wearing it, a joke about his jeans, the exact date that the show came out, and it only came out a few days ago. It has up-to-the-minute data. That's amazing. I've been trying to use all these other chat GPTs to do my job. And first of all, they lie to you, like we talked about, and they're just really boring kind of Wikipedia-ish data. What people want is they want up-to-the-minute data, and you can't get that from most of these other chat GPTs.
And I think, to use fiction, and I don't think that fiction has really caught up to covering what this is going to be like.
Right, because fiction is written at the moment by writers, human writers, and it's not quite written by LLMs yet. And so these writers haven't experienced what this is.
Right. But to kind of use fiction, I mean, you know how in some of the movies or in some of the books you'll read, it'll be something like, the AI will be like, I'm sorry, I can't help with that request. I am only a whatever. Or, you have like C3PO and he's just like, I can't do that. It's against my programming. That's like a funny version of it. But I just feel like the ChatGPT is going to be like that, where it's like hello, I am a robot. Hello. And Grok could be a lot more like some of the robots and some of the AIs that we kind of like in the stories, where they're witty and they're fun and they're really smart and they're helpful.
Well, and think about this. What's one of the things you love about YouTube? Is that when you want to do something, let's say fix a dryer, you can find someone who shows you it's not dry. It's not like, and then take the screwdriver. It's like a real person fixing a dryer, right? Yeah. What if Grok can get that data and get the transcripts from that and say to you, hey, I found this video of a guy who is in the style that you like, and here's the exact section that you need. Or generate its own video. Exactly. I looked at 100 videos. I took the best ones. I made my own video.
And I didn't even look at the videos. I went on to the manufacturer's website and I looked at the schematic for it, and I generated a 3D model
and
of it.
Here's the parts you need, and would you like me to order them for you?
And I mean, I'm not saying this is going to happen soon. I'm just saying this is what could happen in the future. Why don't you take out your phone and the camera, and I will overlay what it's supposed to look like, or I'll highlight where the belt is through wherever it is, so that way you can find where it is.
And again, those people using that technology are going to be so much more advanced than the people who don't. And you might say, well, everyone will be able to use it. Yes, but it's just like email. Does your grandmother use email? If she doesn't, it's not that it's not available to her. It's that she never really got on that wagon. And so I'm not picking on your grandmother, because she probably is on email, sending you all those forwards, right? But people who don't keep up with the latest stuff just kind of fall behind. And what I'm saying to you, smart, disruptive investors, is yes, you can't invest in XAI at the moment, but stay up to date on it so that you know what the technology looks like.
Because again, it might not even be investing. It might not be investing in the traditional sense of like, I'm going to put money down for some shares. This might be investing in yourself. Okay, this might be investing in, because for the dryer example, it might also be that it will find the part and it'll say, do you want me to order it?
Right.
It can be here in 2 days or the next day. And it's like, instead of you having to be like, okay, it's 472B, whatever, like it could just be like, here's the part that you need.
But
here's
you know
the
what?
thing that you need.
As an investor, do you know how powerful Grok could be?
Exactly.
Giving you up-to-the-minute information, being able to say to it things that you don't know how to do, like chart these two stocks and tell me which one is in a decline. Tell me which one is a good buy right now. I mean, things that normally you would have to go to school for.
Or talk to a person that you're going to pay probably more than you'd like to as an hourly, to give you answers that may or may not be right, and probably has an ego attached to it, which means that you can't question it as much as you can question an AI. An AI, you can be like, why'd you tell me that? Why'd you tell me that? Why'd you tell me that? Whereas a person is going to go like, you know what? Why don't you get out of my office? Huh? If you don't think I'm such a great, financial planner, why don't you get out of here? And just like Google, I mean, before Google, like you were talking about, pretty hard to find information. With Google, it was amazing. You were able to at least find some sources. Here, it's going to kind of do a lot of the work for you.
You know what's also cool is over on our Patreon, we have the Investor Club, and the Investor Club has a Slack. And that's data that no one else but them have. And so
even Elon doesn't have that data.
I can imagine a day soon, maybe, when we turn on Grok and we feed it that data so that people who are on that Slack can quickly find information that's been on there for now 2 years or more, right? Archive data of like, hey, give me this information. Instead of having to scroll through lots of Slack messages, they can have Grok do it.
Yeah.
Lots of exciting stuff. Again, if you'd like to support the work we do, head on over to Patreon. For as little as $1 a month, you can see all of our bonus stories every week. And if you'd like to join us on the Investor Club, you get to do a whole lot more. We'll see you next week on Disruptive Investing.